Hey guys, what's up? Well, welcome to the first ever Monday rant. So if you saw the special announcement that I put up, this is one of the new things for, I guess if you will, the new schedule I'm going to try to adhere to. And so, yes, this is Monday rants. It's just me going to be ranting about stuff. Sometimes I'm going to be eating. Sometimes I won't be eating. I'll normally always have something to drink. And, well, as you'll hear, I'll normally have some type of music playing in the background. So, yeah. Today, I'll be eating. So, eating-wise, I got some gyoza and some sushi. I got crab, lobster, and tuna. What?
I thought this was Ranma for a second.
No, kimagore. Kimagore. And I've got Mountain Dew to drink. So.
What are you eating?
Dumplings and sushi?
And you're gonna eat chili in a little bit?
Yeah.
What a combination, man. What kind of dumplings?
Pork.
Well, I'll take one because I couldn't take a egg roll yesterday.
So, okay. First rant for Rant Monday.
What?
I'm doing a video.
Oh, I didn't know. And you're eating while you're
Yeah? Anyway, first rant for Rant Monday. So, for those of you who know, I use a medical transport company called MotiveCare. This isn't so much against MotiveCare. So the way it works, MotiveCare has contracts with different medical transportation companies. And of course they have certain rules in those contracts. One of the rules that they have is if you take a ride, you not only have to do the A leg, but the B leg, and if need be, sometimes a C leg. So, you know, I've said in my one video, I pretty much go to Elizabeth practically every day. And when I go, I get dropped off by them and I'm supposed to get picked up by them. Now, I have times. I'm supposed to get dropped off in Elizabeth by 9 o'clock. And with that, I get a pickup time. So my pickup time is 8:15 a.m. That's what time I'm supposed to get picked up in Newark to go to Elizabeth. Now, in the contract also, it's stated that they have a 15-minute window either way to be early or late. So, again, no issues with that whatsoever. What I have issues with is there have been so many times when companies have taken the ride and something happens. Either the driver themselves are idiots, or sometimes they just come up with certain excuses. So, in a couple of cases, I had one time where literally the driver was completely and utterly rude. Literally got to a point where he legitimately looked at me and said, well, why don't you get there on your own? And I'm literally like, I literally said to him, well, first and foremost, it's your job working for the company, which has the contract with Motive Care. So, it also got to a point where I ended up calling Motive Care themselves to put in a complaint about the driver in front of him. I normally don't do that. So, he basically got it to where he said while I was on the phone with Motive Care, he's putting it in with his bosses to where they don't even take my B-leg, which they already took the contract, so they're supposed to. And with that, anything. So, basically, I got left high and dry, in a way. So, now this is also after an incident happened with Lyft. That's going to be another rant for a Monday rant. But let's just say I ended up getting banned by Lyft because of this incident. So they couldn't give me a lift to get back to the shelter. Now, my shelter, as most shelters, have a curfew. Our curfew is 9 o'clock, point blank period. Now, I've never missed curfew, so I don't know what'll happen if I ever did miss. So, I finally get a company to come pick me up. Now, mind you, I'm supposed to be picked up at 4:15 p.m. to go back to Newark from Elizabeth. There's a lot of times when this happens. Now, another excuse they'll give is, oh, we don't have drivers in the area. Again, you took the trip. Y'all know that you're supposed to do the A leg and the B leg. Come pick me up for the B leg. So it's your job as the company to make sure that there's going to be a driver to come pick me up in the area for my B leg. That's just part of the contract with Motive Care. But they try to pull that. And unfortunately, because of that, they'll stand firm on it with Motive Care that they can't come and pick me up. So Motive Care has to do what's called a recovery trip. Those at times can take up to 3 hours to get a company that'll come and pick me up. There's been plenty of times. Now, I'm back at where I get picked up and dropped off by 3:50. Except on days when I have my group. We get out like around, maybe around same time, like maybe around 3:50, 4 o'clock. So I'm downstairs, and like I said, my pickup time is supposed to be 4:15. Plenty of time. So, again, they'll pull that. And And then there's times, because they do that, I will not get picked up until 8 p.m. to go back to Newark, to go back to the shelter. Now, again, another thing what that means, I won't eat dinner. It's the shelter I live at. Dinner served at 6 o'clock. From 6 to like 6:30. If you miss dinner, you don't eat. And now around that time too, when a lot of this happened, I did not have my food stamps. There was an issue with them. I've since gotten that fixed, and at the recording of this video, I have them. So, that's going on. And now, back at that point too, because of not having the food stamps, I was not able to get lunch, breakfast, anything. So those are the days when it's like I don't eat anything all day. So yeah, it's bad. And now you could just be saying, well, you know, especially like if I do have, you know, now that I have the food stamps, well, can't you go to one of the bodegas around the area or, you know, get something to eat? Yeah, I mean, not the time I get back, because again, curfew's 9 o'clock. So by the time I get back to the shelter, I have no time to run to the bodega to get a sandwich or anything. And they stop making sandwiches at a certain time. So I'm SOL. So, you know, there's that. Now another thing too is it's supposed to be door-to-door pickup. There's plenty of times when, you know, I'll get dropped off across the street from the shelter and I have to cross the street. I mean, that's not so much a big deal. That's whatever. But it's also like when a driver is going to be more concerned about their phone call. Or I've had some in the past that have been watching shit on YouTube on their phones. And they completely miss my the turn to go into the back parking lot of the shelter I'm in. So that gets really annoying. Because then it's like I have to look at them and be like, hey, you know, you missed the entrance to the shelter. And it's like a lot of them are oblivious. Another big thing that really gets me with some of the drivers is they're the ones with the GPSs. All the drivers have GPSs. They'll look at me and be like, so how do you want to go home? I'm literally like, you're the one with the GPS. Just follow the GPS. You know, like, I don't know. I'm not paying attention to how you go. 90% of the time, I'm on the phone in a phone call with somebody. You know, and it's like, so again, like I said, just all different crap like that. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some drivers that are great. I love some of the drivers that I get. You know, so not all of them are idiots or stupid, or I have some that are great. You know, there's some that I'll sit there and I'll have a full-fledged conversation with. You know, like, we'll talk about anything and everything. So, like I said, it's not all too bad. Now, there are some that are like, oi. Like, if I see their name pop up, because I can go to Motorcare's website and find out the company that I get, normally a day in advance. Sometimes I'll double check the day of, so this way I know what type of a car or a name to look out for on the vehicle to wait for. So yeah, now of course I do have my favorites. I will admit, and I'm not afraid to shout them out here. Two of the ones I really love are Sky Transportation and ETA Transportation. They're great. I think ETA, I only had an issue with one driver, and they took care of it. You know, like, I spoke to them about it, and they took care of it. And actually, that was the driver who literally was like, well, why don't you get there on your own? You know, they took care of him. And I've never had him since, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot of the crazy stuff that happens. And, you know, my big thing is, with a lot of these companies, a lot of them need to realize that they're not always working with people who live in houses or stuff like that. They're working with people who are homeless, who live in shelters, etc. We have certain restrictions put on us. Again, curfews. You know, some shelters, like if you're going to be late, like I used to live in the Salvation Army shelter in Elizabeth for a bit. They were cool. If something, like when I was going to my mental health program in Jersey City, there would be plenty of times a ride would be late because, you know, they're going over the Pulaski Skyway, and anybody who knows New Jersey knows the Pulaski Skyway sucks when it comes to traffic. So there would be times when they would be late, and, you know, they would come pick me up really late, and I wouldn't get back until, again, like after dinner would be served. Now, something like that, I could call them up and I could talk to some of the staff, specifically either two of my favorites, Miss Deb or Mama Tanya. And, you know, I would just call them up, be like, you know, hey, Miss Deb, hey, Mama Tanya, you know, this is what's going on. You know, my ride got caught in traffic on the Pulaski, and I'm going to miss dinner. Can you guys save me a plate? 99% of the times they would save me a plate. And, you know, I would eat when I got back. Not this place that I'm at. Again, I'm not going to mention the name or anything until I'm out of there. Just because I don't want any issues. So yeah, with this shelter, it's a matter of I can't call anybody to be like, hey, I'm going to be late, can you save me a plate? So even if they pick up and everything, they don't do that. They don't save you a plate, anything. So yeah. But so yeah, like when it does come to the drivers, like I said, a lot of the drivers are great. Some of them, however, a lot of them think with me they're dealing with a rookie. They don't realize I've been using Motive Care now for almost 8 years. And I know a lot of the stuff that's in their contract because with the companies, because I've talking to Motive Care staff. And, you know, I've learned a lot of the stuff from staff. And, you know, even with new staff members, there's times I'll school them about how stuff with Motive Care works. And, you know, so there's stuff like that. But, so, you know, when it comes to the drivers, like some companies, they make you sign on an iPad or a phone to say that they picked you up. Now, some of them will have a stylus that you can use, but a good majority of them, you have to use your finger. Well, anybody who's tried that knows your signature does not come out the way it's supposed to with just the finger. So what do? I make like the squiggle. And there's so many people, drivers, they're like, oh, no, you have to put your full name and everything. I'm like, no, you don't. Especially if, like, literally I just did it the day before, which has happened a lot of times. I'm like, I literally just did this yesterday. So I know it's going to work. But, you know, it's just a lot of crazy stuff like that. So, that's it for my first Monday rant. Like I said, this is how stuff's gonna go. It's just gonna ultimately be me sitting here. Like I said, sometimes I'm gonna eat, sometimes I won't. But you're always gonna get a rant on certain things. And I have a lot to rant about. 41 years of life at this point. I have a lot to rant about. So, like I said, I hope you guys really enjoy this series. It will get its own playlist. But yeah, so until next time, everybody, I'll see you later.